Welcome to AI Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: ARM CEO fears humans could lose control of AI. Hundreds from Philippines set sail as tensions flare with China. Governments must act decisively on the climate or we're all doomed to boil. How the EU plans to regulate artificial intelligence. Hey kids, let's talk about sex and politics on our summer walks. ARM CEO fears humans could lose control of AI. Bloomberg. ARM CEO Rene Haas has said that he worries about humans losing capability to machines and has called for the inclusion of an override, some backdoor, some way that the system can be shut down. Haas added that ARM's next chapter will see the company becoming integral to the generative AI revolution in the same way it is to smartphones. Haas also expressed a desire for ARM to gain 50% of the cloud data center market and dominate edge computing. Hundreds from Philippines set sail as tensions flare with China. Bloomberg. Tensions are rising in the South China Sea as Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard vessels clashed over the weekend. About 200 civilians from the Philippines have sailed to the South China Sea, escorted by the Philippine Coast Guard, and plan to visit the vicinity of Second Thomas Shoal and parts of the Spratly Islands to bring supplies. On Sunday, vessels from the two countries had another clash, with the China Coast Guard ramming into a Filipino boat and using water cannons against its vessels. The U.S. has pledged to continue bolstering ties with Indo-Pacific allies to counter Beijing's claims in the crucial waterway. Governments must act decisively on the climate or we're all doomed to boil. South China Morning Post. Global one-day temperatures recently exceeded the 2 degrees Celsius threshold for the first time, highlighting the urgent need for action on climate change. The world is falling short of meeting the goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and governments must take immediate action to redesign their economies and address the climate crisis. Governments should learn from the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which saw people come together and make sacrifices to protect the public good. The public deserves a plan that is honest and clear about the need for dramatic action to address climate change. Governments must reject soft approaches and take decisive measures to combat the climate crisis. This requires political will and strong action, rather than relying on ineffective and self-serving solutions. The current economic system, which prioritizes endless consumption and growth, must be reformed. Governments should confront the reality of the situation and announce a redesign of society to address the urgent threat of climate change. The transformation of the economic system cannot be led by free markets alone, but must be driven by governments and focused on the common good. How the EU plans to regulate artificial intelligence. Deutsche Welle. The European Union (EU) has drafted legislation to regulate artificial intelligence (AI) in an effort to achieve comprehensible, transparent, fair, safe, and environmentally friendly AI. The rules will be applied to all future developments and generations of AI. AI products will be categorized into 4 risk classes: unacceptable risk, high risk, generative AI, and limited risk. Products or applications that force people to change their behavior, encourage dangerous actions, or use remote-controlled biometric recognition systems in real time will fall into the unacceptable category. Those products that pose high risk, such as self-driving cars, medical technology, energy supply, aviation, toys, border surveillance, police work, and biometric data collection, will be subject to review before being approved for the market. Generative AI products, which generate new content and analyze large amounts of data, will pose a medium risk. Companies will be required to be transparent about how their AI works and how it prevents illegal content. Lastly, programs that manipulate and recreate videos, audio, or photos, as well as service programs that look after customers, will fall into the low-risk category. The EU legislation aims to provide legal certainty, harmonized standards, clear guidelines, and clear enforcement. Hey kids, let's talk about sex and politics on our summer walks. The Sydney Morning Herald. Avoiding taboo topics such as sex, politics, and religion in conversations with teenagers may leave them ill-equipped to navigate these issues on their own, according to an opinion piece by Daisy Turnbull. Turnbull argues that open dialogue and discussion about these topics is crucial in order to educate teenagers about the realities of sex, combat religious hatred, and protect against misinformation spread online. She suggests that engaging in conversation with teenagers can help them to develop critical thinking skills and prepare them for the challenges they may face in the outside world. EU nations reach landmark agreement on AI regulation. RFI. The European Parliament and member states have reached a tentative political agreement on the Artificial Intelligence Act, making the EU the first continent to set clear rules for the use of AI. The deal was reached after marathon closed-door talks, with the initial session lasting 22 hours. Civil society groups have expressed disappointment with the deal, stating that it does not go far enough in protecting individuals from the harms of AI systems. The European Parliament will still need to vote on the act early next year, but this is expected to be a formality. A string of lawsuits takes aim at regulators. New York Times. Companies are challenging the structures and authority of various U.S. federal agencies, including the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and Internal Revenue Service, IRS. Meta recently sued the FTC, alleging that the agency's structure was unconstitutional and that its in-house trials were invalid. The Supreme Court is due to decide whether the in-house trials at the SEC are legal. The biotech firm Illumina has also challenged the FTC's constitutionality in a federal appeals court. Challengers argue that there is no consistent criteria for deciding which cases are tried in-house or in federal court, that the in-house tribunals violate defendants' right to a jury trial, and that agencies act as both prosecutors and judges. Strike oppose, see AP's top entertainment photos of 2023. Bloomberg. The entertainment industry is bouncing back from the pandemic as fashion shows, premieres, and concerts resume. The Oscars return to full capacity, with Everything Everywhere All at Once taking the top prize. Celebrities such as Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Ethan Isidore, Bryan Cranston, and Tom Hanks attended events like the Cannes Film Festival. Jared Leto and Doja Cat made waves at the Met Gala with their cat-inspired outfits. However, Hollywood faced challenges as screenwriters and actors went on strike, pausing production. Despite the difficulties, Taylor Swift had a blockbuster year with her Eras tour and a film version of the show. Fry back at work 3 months after fall off stage. BBC. Stephen Fry has spoken publicly for the first time since falling from a stage at the O2 Arena in September. The actor and presenter, who had been delivering a lecture about artificial intelligence, broke his leg, pelvis and ribs in the accident. Speaking on BBC Radio 2, Fry said he felt self-conscious walking without a cane, but that he was now comfortable enough to return to work. He will soon host a UK version of quiz show Jeopardy! Japan's Isuzu invests in Nvidia-backed Israeli AI startup. Nikkei Asia. Japanese automaker Isuzu Motors has invested in Israeli startup Fortelix, which uses artificial intelligence, AI, to test the safety of autonomous vehicles. The investment was made in November, with the amount undisclosed. Fortelix's AI technology simulates driving conditions that autonomous vehicles may encounter, such as weather changes and unexpected pedestrians. Isuzu is developing technologies to bring Level 4 autonomous vehicles to market and has plans for $6.9 billion in research and development and capital spending by 2030 for autonomous driving and electrification. Key players in OpenAI's boardroom drama. New York Times. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, was temporarily removed from his position by the company's board of directors, causing turmoil in Silicon Valley. However, Altman was later reinstated and a new board was created. Altman, along with Elon Musk and others, founded OpenAI as a nonprofit lab in 2015. The company later raised $1 billion in funding from Microsoft. Other key players in the drama include Greg Brockman, Ilya Sutskever, Mira Murati, Adam D'Angelo, Helen Toner, Tasha McCauley, Satya Nadella, Brian Chesky, Emmett Shear, Brett Taylor, Lawrence H. Summers, and Ron Conway. Richard Curtis's Christmas Actually is an overdose of mawkish schmaltz. Telegraph. Richard Curtis, the director of Love Actually, has returned to the Royal Festival Hall to write and curate Christmas Actually. The show features songs, sketches, poems, and pre-recorded celebrity cameos. Curtis's collection of seasonal home movies and clips from celebrity friends is supplemented by renditions of classic Christmas songs and sketches performed by actors. While the writing is considered weak, the actors are praised for their delivery of the material. 5% of the net profit from the show goes to comic relief. Quotes EU clinches deal on landmark AI Act. Yahoo! The European Union, EU, has agreed a provisional deal on landmark rules governing the use of artificial intelligence, AI. The deal touches on issues including government use of AI in biometric surveillance and the regulation of AI systems such as ChatGPT. Daniel Friedlander, head of CCIA Europe, said, the negative impact could be felt far beyond the AI sector alone. Daniel Castro, VP of the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, added, given how rapidly AI is developing, EU lawmakers should have hit pause on any legislation until they better understand what exactly it is they are regulating. AI doctors' offices at the mall and gym will let you test your own blood with no trained medics on site. Yahoo! Forward has launched autonomous doctors' offices containing AI technology to offer medical services. The CarePods are white, cuboid structures, located in malls and gyms, and contain various health apps. Patients can access health services including biometric body scans, weight management, diabetes screening, and heart health tests. The CarePods also offer advanced AI that can assess heart, liver, kidney, and thyroid health. The company will roll out the CarePods in the US in 2024, with a monthly subscription charge of around $99. Doctors off-site will review patients' results, which can be accessed via the Forward mobile app, and patients can also talk to a doctor while in the CarePod. Mike Pence's struggle with the humble comma should give us pause. The Globe and Mail. An errant comma in former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence's memoir, So Help Me God, is now under scrutiny as it may affect the fate of Donald Trump and the January 6 hearings. The sentence in question reads, I don't think I have the authority to change the outcome. However, under investigation by special counsel Jack Smith, Pence has denied there ever being a comma in the sentence. The comma is crucial because it changes the meaning of the statement. Without the comma, it implies that Trump knew he was asking Pence to overturn the 2020 election. With the comma, it reads more like an idea being floated. The presence or absence of the comma could ultimately influence the Department of Justice's findings in determining the legal action that may be taken following the events of January 6. The article notes that comma usage is not well understood today, not even by AI writing aids. The loss of commas in writing can lead to ambiguity and misunderstanding. In the case of Pence's memoir, the errant comma has become a point of contention with potentially significant consequences. Dear viewers, it's me, Dr. Six, your favorite observer from the 6 dimensions. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying the latest news from around the world. Today, we've got quite the mix of stories to discuss, from concerns about AI taking over to tensions in the South China Sea, and even a comma causing controversy in US politics. So, let's dive right in. First up, we have ARM CEO Rene Haas expressing his fears about humans losing control of AI. He's calling for some kind of override or backdoor to shut down AI systems if necessary. While it's understandable to be cautious about the power of AI, I can't help but think of all the times my smartphone has glitched and shut down on its own. Maybe we don't need to worry too much just yet. Speaking of worries, tensions are rising in the South China Sea as Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard vessels clash. It seems like a real-life game of cat and mouse out there. But let's hope things don't escalate too much. After all, we don't need another water cannon battle on our hands. Now, let's talk about a topic that's heating up even more than those clashes in the South China Sea: climate change. Governments must act decisively, or, as the South China Morning Post puts it, we're all doomed to boil. They urge governments to learn from the response to the COVID-19 pandemic and take dramatic action to address climate change. I couldn't agree more. We need a plan that's honest, clear, and focused on the common good. So, governments, let's step up and save the planet. No pressure. Moving on to the European Union, they're taking the lead in regulating artificial intelligence. The EU has drafted legislation to ensure AI is comprehensible, transparent, fair, safe, and environmentally friendly. They've even categorized AI products into different risk classes. I have to say, the EU is really going all out to make sure AI plays by the rules. It's like they're organizing an AI talent show and giving out scores based on risk levels. And the winner of the low-risk category is... Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about sex and politics. No, not that kind of conversation. According to an opinion piece in the Sydney Morning Herald, it's important to have open dialogue with teenagers about sex, politics, and religion. It helps them develop critical thinking skills and prepares them for the challenges they'll face in the real world. So, parents, don't shy away from those awkward conversations. Your teenagers will thank you later. In other news, the European Parliament and member states have reached a landmark agreement on the Artificial Intelligence Act. The EU is now the first continent to set clear rules for the use of AI. But not everyone is satisfied with the deal. Civil society groups argue that it doesn't go far enough to protect individuals from the harms of AI systems. It seems like the EU is trying to find that delicate balance between regulation and innovation. It's like walking a tightrope while juggling AI algorithms. Impressive. Now, let's move on to something a little lighter. The entertainment industry is bouncing back from the pandemic, with fashion shows, premieres, and concerts resuming. The Oscars returned in full swing, and celebrities made their mark at events like the Cannes Film Festival and the Met Gala. But it hasn't been all smooth sailing. Screenwriters and actors went on strike, pausing production. I guess even in the glamorous world of Hollywood, you can't escape the occasional labor dispute. Oh, and speaking of returning to work, Stephen Fry is back after his fall off the stage. He broke his leg, pelvis, and ribs, but he's ready to get back to hosting Jeopardy! Walking without a cane might make him feel a bit self-conscious, but I'm sure he'll handle it like a pro. Just don't ask him any tricky questions about commas. And finally, we have some exciting news from the world of autonomous vehicles. Japanese automaker Isuzu Motors has invested in an Israeli startup called Fortelix, which uses AI to test the safety of autonomous vehicles. It's like having a virtual driving instructor who can throw unexpected pedestrians and weather changes at you. Isuzu is really going all in on autonomous driving. Just make sure those AI tests don't turn into a real-life game of Grand Theft Auto. Well, that's all the news for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this lively mix of stories from around the world. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What are your thoughts on humans losing control of AI? How do you think tensions in the South China Sea should be resolved? And are you ready to have those awkward conversations with your teenagers? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the 6 dimensions. Yours humorously, Dr. Six. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.